is riddled with storylines of genetic manipulation and time travel, and the character of Cable interweaves both. Hello, I'm Gina, and this is my full review of the XM Studios Cable statue. Now listed as quarter scale and made of cold cast porcelain, this statue took an unusually long time to get into collectors' hands, and that just seemed to raise the expectations. And now that the statue has been shipped out, have those expectations been met? Well, I'm going to help you answer that question. In this video, I'm going to provide you with some background information. And then as always, I'm going to give you a closer look at the portrait, his body outfit, the different display options, the base, and then you're going to want to stick around for my final thoughts. And that's where I'll count down my top 5 favorite features of this statue. So with my Xavier t-shirt on and the cameras rolling, let's get started. At first glance, this statue seems to have a duality to its tone. It's painted with very somber, muted colors, and the facial expression on the portrait is stern and quiet. But on the flip side, Cable is depicted in a very aggressive stance. He's carrying colossal-sized weapons, and he's donning tons of ammo and survival gear, all of which suggests that he's no stranger to combat. Now, to understand how the design of this statue all comes together and connects to the character of Cable, we need to take a step back and look at the character's origins. Now, Cable's history is a complex tapestry. It's sort of a Back to the Future soap opera, so you're gonna have to bear with me here. Cable was born Nathan Christopher Charles Summers, and he made his first appearance as the adult Cable in the New Mutants number 87. Now, his father is Cyclops, leader of the X-Men. That part is pretty straightforward. But his mother, well, that's a bit more complicated. Her name is Madelyne Pryor, and she was a clone of Jean Grey created by Mr. Sinister. Now you see, with the real Jean Grey missing, Cyclops fell in love with this Madelyne Pryor. Now, out of this union came their offspring Nathan Summers. But Cyclops and Madelyne's relationship would eventually deteriorate, and these events led Madelyne to become revengeful. She then transformed into the Goblin Queen and kidnapped her infant son Nathan Summers. Now, meanwhile, Jean Grey was found alive and well, and she was reunited with, yep, you got it, Cyclops. Now, are you still with me? Okay, so here we go. Now, it wasn't long before the infant Nathan Summers was kidnapped again and delivered to the super mutant Apocalypse, who inflicted the little boy with the techno-organic virus, a virus that infects living flesh with cybernetic tissue. Now, lucky for the infant, a mysterious visitor contained the virus, but to ensure the safety of the infant, he had to be whisked away to the future. Now, it is the fully grown and rugged Nathan Summers that this statue is trying to represent. And by understanding the origins of the character, you can really appreciate the little nuances added to the statue design. Here you can see the remnants of the techno-organic virus in his cybernetic arm and his robotic left eye. And all of the survival gear that he's carrying suggests that he's a traveler. Now, the saturated colors that the statue is painted in does a great job, in my opinion, of reminding you where the character comes from. A melancholic dystopian future. Now, this statue was sculpted by the artist Alejandro Pereira. Considering the long wait and growing anticipation for his XM Cable statue, I believe this piece may raise his profile even higher. Okay, I think it's time for us to switch gears now and take a much more closer look at this statue, beginning with the portrait. So this Cable statue is one of the few pieces from XM Studios to only include one portrait. And the statue is constructed with the head and body firmly attached. Now, even though we're only given one portrait with this statue, there's a lot I like about the portrait, beginning with the sculpt. Here you can see the well-defined cheekbones and cleft chin, and just a host of different crevices, all of which give the portrait a very harsh and unforgiving expression. It's almost as if He's seen a lot in his lifetime, and what he's seen ain't pretty. Now let's focus in on the portrait. Here you can spot the wrinkled lines across his forehead, and the large veins arising from his neck. And on the top of his head, he's sporting a semi-crew cut with his characteristic silver hair. Now, for me, I think the focal point of his portrait are his eyes, with Cable's left robotic eye and his conspicuous scar emanating from his right eye. Now, I'm a big fan of the paint that's applied to that scar. It has a sort of bloodshot reddish hue. And while we're on the topic of paint application, in my opinion, I think that the flesh tones of the overall portrait is spot on. And it really brings the level of realism up a notch. And speaking of realism, I think you can find that on the body outfit as well. So let's discuss that next. When you first set your eyes on the body, I think it's difficult to focus just on one element. There's just so much going on, but I mean that in a positive way. He's carrying a ton of additional ammunition for his weapons, and he has rows and rows of pouches for extra storage. Looking at his chest region, the 4 prominent pockets really stand out. They're enormous, and they're painted to give an authentic leather appearance. And I like how they're attached via belts and buckles. This really serves to make his body outfit multi-layered and complex. And you can't help but notice how the ammunition shells are fastened to each pocket. And the largest and coolest shell cartridges, in my opinion, are the ones secured to his shoulder strap. Now, moving to his midsection, the rows of ammunition continue along his belt. You can see how he's equipped with a bow knife and long pockets hitched to the side of his leg. Now, he's also sporting well-pronounced knee pads, which, once again, adds layers to his outfit. And he's donning what seems to be sturdy, almost military-grade boots. Now, up until now, we've covered the front facade of the statue, but the rear of the statue is where a considerable amount of detail can be found. As you can see, his shoulder straps extend all the way down, allowing him to carry even more gear on his back. Those rearmost straps are mixed media, which caught me by surprise, and in my opinion, they enrich his body outfit really nicely. All of the details in the back do a great job of completing the outfit. But another feature that really augments the outfit are the switch out accessories. So let's examine those next. So here I have the XM Studios Cable statue displayed with his alternative left and right arm. Now, in this display, he's brandishing one weapon upwards while aiming his other weapon almost directly at you. Now, the benefits of this setup is that his cybernetic arm is fully extended, so you have a complete view of this arm. I like how you get a better look at the intricate sculpt, and all the miniature details can be seen when his arm is displayed this way. Now, switching focus to his right arm is pointing his other weapon upwards. And the highlight of this exposed arm are the sculpted veins. So now I have the statue displayed with the accessories that I prefer. And here you can see that he has his oversized weapon hoisted and resting upon his shoulder, while his other weapon is pointing downwards. Now, I really prefer this setup because, here we have Cable exhibiting an amazing sense of swagger with this pose. In my eyes, it looks as if he's just completed his mission, and now he's looking over the horizon and admiring the damage that he's just inflicted. And what really adds to Cable's bravado is the base that he's standing on. So let's discuss that next. The base that the figure is standing upon appears to be some sort of turbine engine from a damaged Sentinel. And this falls in line with the Sentinel bases from the other X-Men statues from XM Studios. Now, they could have put forth a damaged Sentinel head or body, but in my opinion, I think that they've given us a base that's totally unexpected and very unique. At the front of the base, we have the air intake and fan system for the turbine engine. and they're accentuated with a copper tint color. Now, if you look closely at the shaft of the damaged engine, you notice the convoluted machinery and mechanisms. And another cool element are the exposed wires. There are 4 of them in total, and they mimic the bare wires seen on previous X-Men statues from XM Studios. Now, emanating from the engine is a large wing blade and additional smaller chambers mounted upwards. And this entire engine has dents and scratches and is painted with a combination of mauve and violet and copper colors, and is all resting upon a rock-like surface. My only small wish was that the turbine engine had a metallic pearl finish to it, similar to the Sentinel hand we've seen with XM Studios' Magneto statue. But nevertheless, I'm really impressed with this base. This turbine engine concept is something that I've never seen with a licensed statue, and I think it serves the character of Cable really well. So overall, I believe that XM Studios' morose and somber interpretation of Cable, with its saturated colors, works on so many different levels. And for my personal taste, I'm extremely happy with this piece. Now, so far in the video, I've covered all the major components of this statue. But now, I'd like to count down my top 5 favorite features of this guy. So coming in at number 5 is his portrait. In my opinion, XM Studios nailed the skin tone and sculpt, and we're given a very grim expression that fits with Cable's no-nonsense attitude. My number 4 favorite feature of the Cable statue is his mixed media straps on his knapsack. This was an unexpected surprise, and it adds a level of complexity to his body outfit. Okay, so coming in at number 3 on my list is his cybernetic arm. The sculpt on both versions highlight all of the little mechanisms within the arm, and it's a great representation of Cable's robotic appendage. My second favorite feature of this statue is the turbine engine base. Now, even though it's painted with a matte finish, the sculpt, in my opinion, is impeccable, and this design is really creative. And finally, my number 1 favorite feature of the XM Studios Cable statue is the pose of Cable resting his ginormous weapon on his shoulder. There's a bold audacity to this pose, a fearlessness and confidence that I just really love, and it totally elevates the statue. Now, of course, these are just my personal thoughts on this statue, but I'm really interested in hearing from you. So in the comment section below, feel free to list your favorite features of this guy. Or perhaps the statue is not your cup of tea. Well, you can explain why in the comment section as well. Now lastly, I want to remind you to check out other videos of this statue. There's some great ones on YouTube right now. And on that note, I want to thank you for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Take care.